So everyone saw the new Carnage trailer, and when I was a kid, Venom was one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe. But then Carnage came along, and I started to understand more about him. And really, he's like Venom, but just on juice, which is saying something. So in today's video, I want to go over some of the differences between Venom and Carnage when it comes to their abilities and strengths. Now, some of you might think he's just another ripoff of Venom, of which, there are many. But you'd be wrong on that. He's not just a ripoff of Venom. He's better in almost every single way. He's deadlier, he's more resilient to sound waves and heat-based attacks, and he's capable of far greater healing. But his most interesting attribute is his strength. Even though Venom is often portrayed as a terrifying bruiser, someone who Spider-Man can't equally trade punches with, Carnage is actually much stronger. And how much stronger? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So, I've got a list of some of the greatest feats and strengths that Carnage has ever displayed. Let's start with the best one. Carnage regularly beats Venom in fights. It's not really much of a contest. He's thrown Venom across skyscrapers, busted him through a floor, and even roped Venom around the neck, and mercilessly dragged him while web-slinging. But none of those are really all that amazing compared to this next one. Carnage beat up Spider-Man and Venom at the same time. That's like beating up Goku and Vegeta at once. Think about it. Spider-Man, good old Peter Parker, who was able to go toe-to-toe with Rhino, Green Goblin, and even Wolverine a time or two, was completely undone by Carnage, and Venom was there helping him. That fight speaks for itself. Carnage didn't stop just defeating Spidey and Venom. In a bizarre team-up, Carnage joined Spidey on an occasion. When Nightcrawler, the blue teleporter we all know and love from X-Men, showed up, things turned very ugly. Crawler pointed his sword at Spidey's throat, and he was just a little bit too close for Spidey to get away. Even though Parker is technically the more agile one between the two, Nightcrawler had him pinned. Until Carnage showed up, and with a light tap of his foot, completely knocked the Blue Mutant out. Sure, Nightcrawler isn't much of a killer, but it still says something that Carnage was able to take him out while simply web-slinging by, and Spider-Man wasn't. Now, there's actually one massive brawl Carnage won that I really want to talk about here in this video, and this is probably going to be the highlight, because it's very insane. It involved a gamma-irradiated monster, Venom, and our slimy red friend. But before we go there, to fully measure Carnage's strength, I guess we should also mention all of the inanimate objects and robots that Carnage has tossed around, thrown, or otherwise destroyed using his strength. Now, he's done a few of the usual villain things. He's popped prison bars out of walls, lifted a police car above his head, and even managed to throw a helicopter with seemingly little effort, which is pretty incredible considering how much Captain America has to put in to simply bicep curl a single chopper. But beyond this, and here's the thing, Carnage managed to tear apart an adamantium robot. Not just any adamantium robot, but an adamantium sentinel which had completely stomped the Avengers. Literally, stepped on Iron Man. The Avengers were unable to even scratch these Sentinels, but when Carnage showed up, he dealt the first meaningful blow by ripping an adamantium eyeball out of its adamantium socket. Remember now, adamantium is one of the strongest metals in the Marvel Universe. It's right up there with vibranium. For Carnage to be able to so easily rip that Sentinel's eye apart, even if it was just a few measly cables holding it in place, really shows just how strong he's become. Even though Carnage's fight against these adamantium robots was pretty great, I think this last fight really demonstrates how strong the red symbiote really became. So let's get to it. Carnage also fought a Venomized Hulk. That is a version of Bruce Banner's green rage monster that hosted the Venom symbiote. Remember, the symbiotes multiply the power of its host, considering that the Hulk nearly destroyed the eastern seaboard simply by walking on it during the World War Hulk. The powers of Venom Hulk would be planet-ending. But instead of shuddering from each punch, Carnage shrugged them off and asked for more. The fight went a few rounds, but eventually, Carnage sunk his tendrils into the Hulk's mind and subdued him. He ripped the symbiote away and tossed Banner to the side. But even though Carnage kind of used a lame trick to win, turning Hulk into Bruce instead of beating Hulk by a clear knockout punch, still, the fact that Carnage wasn't completely turned into red mist from Venom Hulk's punches is astounding. And more, the fact that he sent Venom Hulk reeling a few times shows us just how powerful Carnage can be. Although, I gotta say in full honesty, this version of Carnage was juiced up on the power of other symbiotes at the time, so yeah, there's that too. It's not just like regular Carnage, which already is extremely powerful. Now, there are tons of other lists of, abilities and powers I can go into detail and make a super long video. If you want that, please let me know in the comments, but this is the gist of the matter when it comes to Carnage being stronger than Venom and stronger than Spider-Man, which we already knew. But I hope this gave you some examples of the differences and some of the scenarios where Carnage has shown his great feats. I want to give a big shout out to Reddit's Respect threads on this one because I got a lot of the information from it as well. And of course, just covering the comics and going through all that, which really helped double down on everything. But if you guys want me to go through more in depth on this, I would love to do that. Let me know down below in the comments, and who would you have in a fight? Venom, Spider-Man, or Carnage? Or maybe even someone else even beyond him. Have a great rest of your day. Throw a like on this video if you did enjoy this kind of vid, and subscribe if you are new here. I'm going to be releasing videos every single day, sometimes 2 videos every single day, so I hope you'll be around and enjoy the content on the channel. Until the next episode, remember, with great power comes great responsibility.